don't know if your kids can.
Oh, that's all the Snickers.
I didn't have it, we had Twix.
It's called Greenville.
Good cat,
Cats are good.
they're the best.
I like those too.
They were that one identified.
Greenville City Council will come to order. Call the roll.
Brown. Aaron, present. Godwin,
Here.
Norris.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Ruger.
Here.
So,
Hey, if I could get everyone to stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evening, everyone. First, we need a motion to
you just have to name.
just me as
Yes, you just get name.
Kim Davis as pro tem. So moved. Okay. It doesn't need a motion. Sorry.
You can do it.
He'd be a good one for it.
You can tell me. Go on.
Let's see, council, you were sent the minutes. If not to anything, they will stand approved as sent. I will take a motion to approve the current financial report that was sent out. So moved. Been moved to accept the financial report. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Aaron, present. Yes. Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Ruger.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, approval of the agenda. I do have a need for adding an additional ordinance number 7, and that is a ordinance authorizing the lease purchase finance of the new fire truck. Anything else? That's it.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, it's been moved to approve the agenda as amendment. Discussion, call the roll.
Aaron, yes. Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Ruger.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, public hearing. Anyone would like to come up to the podium and speak? Please state your name and address.
I'm Aaron Moran, 408 Park Boulevard, Versailles, and the president of the Dark County Visitors Bureau. Just giving an update on where things are at with our group. Couple big weekends coming up with the holidays, with the hometown Christmas in Versailles, and our the horse parade here in Greenville. The following weekend, we have started doing some partnerships with the Holiday Inn and Hotel Versailles for a couple of events coming up where activities in Versailles, could stay at the hotel here in Versailles or in Greenville and get transportation to again encourage some capacity for the events. So we're looking forward to see how that can benefit both communities there. They've been working well together in those discussions. A lot of the past couple of months have been talking about really our structure for Dark County Visitors Bureau and the Main Street Greenville Partnership. And I shared that with the new representative on the council and also with the mayor, and that with everything going on, I think both groups think we need to have our own director in charge of that. And so we're going to be looking at how that may happen and having some discussions with our full board this month, as well as Main Street Greenville, and see what partnerships can be continued with that, but probably having separate directors on both of those boards leaving the charge. Other than that, again, just kind of really need to work on that piece. The workload still, Greg Billings, our director, is still the only person there for both groups right now until we decide on how we're going to move forward, and that's a big piece of it. But what questions might people have?
Yes, may I ask you if you're getting ready to appoint or develop 2 directors for each entity? I mean, a director for each entity. So then my question to the Dark County Visitors Bureau, are you still interested in sharing space and being in the same building downtown?
That's something we're having we want to have those discussions with the Main Street Greenville.
Mhm.
And that was part of the, I think will be the email we had sent to the representative, Mr. Brown and the mayor, that this is kind of what we're looking at, how we can still have a presence in Greenville and share some space. We think it's still some value in having that presence here, but maybe we're not the main owner or leaser of that space. Maybe we look at it maybe a flip-flop of responsibilities, and we've had some preliminary discussions with Main Street Greenville, a notification on that, like this is what we're looking to do.
Another question I have is, have you thought any more about enacting a volunteer group to work so that when the Visitors Bureau can be represented on Saturday?
Again, I think that's not necessarily what our vision is, in being available to our partners in all the whole county. We're here to serve the whole county, not just one specific area. So I think that's the location of that is might be more of a Main Street Greenville priority and focus for that.
I would think that too.
Well, I see it as it could be an opportunity to promote both. I don't mean exclusively promoting Greenville, but when you have people coming into the town, coming into our community on a Saturday and they want some additional information, where do they get that? I guess they get it online. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
you know, and who better to talk about the community than the citizens themselves? So I don't know, just food for thought.
Yeah, as everybody's aware of, getting employees is tough, and volunteers is no different. That is something that all the groups that we've talked with, volunteerism is just not there. Some people have gone back to work, but it's been very tough to get somebody to man the station, period. So, but it's not something that, again, it's not something that can't be resurrected or maybe looked into. But I don't know if that's going to be the priority of the Darke County Visitors Bureau for that.
Well, I can tell you that I volunteered to work for both organizations and I received no call back, so I'm interested.
Great.
So just saying, there is interest out there. Maybe you just need to ask the right people.
Could be.
And I'm not, no offense, I'm just
No, that's
saying that
okay.
I volunteered for both. And both directors and have, you know, never had much of a follow-up. So, okay, thank you.
Good thing you can't get fired.
Hmm?
Good thing you can't get fired.
That's true.
Volunteers do not get fired.
Who would-
And I guess as a follow-up question to Ms. Ely is, so as the organization split right now, they share an executive director. Is it the Visitors Bureau intention to take the executive, Mr. Billing, to offer him the full-time position with yours to the exclusion of Main Street, or what's the plan with?
That's being discussed, that proposal. It's not something that we shared it out with the board and with the, I said, our representative and the mayor, and what the executive committee, an idea, and it would have to be done, but that is a possibility, correct?
But it's the plan of the Visitors Bureau to take Mr. Billing on.
That's what we're thinking is the direction we're going, correct?
Okay.
Yes,
And then Main Street would then have to hire someone new and
correct,
left with that
Yes.
vacancy.
yes.
Yeah, any other questions?
Thank you
Appreciate
so
you
much.
coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, Aaron.
Hey, any other public hearings?
I'm going to make this very quick as I do have to get to work. And
Can you state your name and address, please?
Lee Bowling, 527 Mark With Avenue in Greenville, Ohio, Archbishop of the Church of God of the Apostolic Faith. I'm going to make this very quick, like I said, because I do have to be at work, and I worked it out just so that I could speak with council tonight. Well, I want to speak with you all concerning our homeless in our community. Greenville, Ohio has a homeless problem, and we all know it. It has often faced stigma and discrimination, but we all can do our part to help fix the issue. And I'm asking the council to come together. We have a lack of communication. One of the things is we talk about all of the different organizations we got, but yet we don't have them all on the same page. A lot of resources we know about, a lot of them we don't. Even with the 211 system that is in place, that is a great organization, a great system in which you can call and get help, but not everybody is on that program. We have to do better to join everyone together in the conversation to move our city forward. We have a great city. There is no doubt about it. We have great men and women in place. I do not disrespect none of you. And Jeff will tell you, me and him has disagreed on many things, but I have never been disrespectful to him. Anytime that I have ever talked with you all, I have been respectful, even though I disagree with many of you on how you do things. I am a constitutional conservative from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet, as well as I am a Bible believer. And my job is to be the watchman of the wall. Yours is to be the watchman of the city. We all have the same common goal. I've been called to be a Moses, to be sent here tonight to tell you that we need to liberate these people. I choose love over hate, faith over fear, and unity over division. For too long, we have had a problem with our homeless, and it has been through failed leadership of city, county, and federal people all over the globe. We have to come together and do better for our citizens that are homeless. We want to paint them in one paint brush. And I've heard many of people say it. They're all drug addicted. They are all mentally ill. I agree, some of them are. Some of them does have mental illness. Some of them does have drug addiction. Yes, we need to go after the drug dealers, but we have to do it in a proper and a manner way of doing things. And so I'm asking you to come together with my office and other people and sit down and let's have the tough conversations. I've asked for several times for us to come together. Several meetings has even been planned in the city. Not one time has the office of the bishop been invited to those meetings. But yeah, we have done more to help with the homeless than anybody. We have put them up in motels. We have started a mailbox system. You can't get a job in the city or any city without a mailbox. We started a mailbox system. So now they can come and use the church address to get mail. We had a problem with them showering. So now we put in showers for them to shower. Showers are blessings. We've done so many things, and the list goes on. We have gotten 5 people jobs. I personally transport them back and forth to work. So to say that they're all lazy isn't true. There may be some, but the problem is the stigma of homelessness. We have to do better as a community. The reality is that we're creating fear in the city. You can disagree with me, but there are more division now than there has ever been. And I'm calling for unity. People are terrified when they see homeless. Homophobic fear has crept into our city. And we want to do prejudiced things toward their homeless, painting them as drug addicted, mentally ill, and many other things, lazy, when that is not the truth of the matter. In some cases, it may be, but not in all cases. I know a young man that we help that is almost 80 years old that is homeless. Breaks my heart. Worked his whole life, and now trying to get disability and Social Security. And he's fighting, but he's homeless, and he's been harassed. He's been targeted. I call for this to end. This isn't a Republican thing. It's not a Democratic thing. But this is an issue that is a human issue that needs to be addressed by all parties. Now, we can talk about the barbaric, ruthless actions of weaponizing our police and health department at some other time. But I'm very concerned about the Ohio Revised Statute 3707-01. It violates the First, Fourth, Fifth, Eighth, and 14th Amendments. And if someone disagrees with us, when are they going to weaponize them against us? It is something to think about. Because who's next? Am I or you? It is a very dangerous procedure to bypass the greatest law, which is the United States Supreme Court Constitution. Negative and stereotyping has increased discrimination, violence, and hate crimes against homeless. The city of Greenville, I feel, has violated the American with Disability Act of 1990, which says that you cannot discriminate based on disability, whether it be public or private entities, whether you receive federal assistance or not. The 14th Amendment talks about the life, liberty, and property not being deprived of it without going through the court. But yet we enacted an unconstitutional amendment, 22-102, to bypass it. I bypassed it with emergency calls, but yet we've had the problem going on in the city for years and years and years. And you know the statement that I'm going to say, but I'm going to stick by it. Dogs are treated better. If you do what we've done to some of our homeless, we'll be sitting in a jail cell. I have a heart for the homeless. I too once was homeless. I worked, but I couldn't afford to make ends meet, and I was 16 years old. People are turned out for many reasons. Rent in this city is $600 to $1,000. It takes two people to make it in some occasions because they don't have the necessary education. And I'm going to wrap this up real quick as quick as I can. Our local government needs to come together to work out a proper solution. And it has been due to the lack of leadership. And all of a sudden, right in the coldest part of the weather, we do this. Why could we not have waited till summer? Why did we have to wait till the coldest part and during the weather in the conditions that it is? I call it end to the discrimination, the prejudice, and the injustice towards the homeless. And I'm asking you to work with us to do things right. Yes, we need to address the issue. Yes, we need to address the trash. Yes, we need to address all of those. And I don't disagree with you, but it is the manner in which we did things that concerns me. I hope the city will address with the local clergy of this city, and I'm talking about only the clergy, to find solutions, to work with the people of this city towards the homeless, or we're going to find many dead homeless in the streets. And it isn't going to be from drugs, it's going to be from the cold weather. We need to work on more solutions to address the things, because homelessness really comes from the lack of being able to have a home. And yet homes are hard to find. We want to talk 500 jobs in the city. Let's talk about 500 jobs. In closing, how do you get a job with no mailing address? Lack of education, lack of mental status. Some people just can't work. Some people have been stuck in that system for so long, they need mentally help, physical help. They can't work because of the environment that they are in. They need showers. They need bank accounts. Any of you know of any business in this town that writes you a check? I don't know of any. you have to have a bank account. So when we say no work, no eat, it's simple to say that. But let's address the root of the problem. How do we get them back to work? We can talk about they're lazy, but has any of you all helped them get jobs? Transported them? I have. We have gotten 5 and we're working with more. My job isn't to come here as the watchman of the wall to fight with counsel. It's not to come and point fingers, but it is to come to let you know that we do have a problem. But it is how we address this problem that is crucial. And the way that I have seen it handled thus far isn't the way that we should address it. Yes, we need to clean up our city, and yes, we need to go after the drugs. Yes, we need to let the police chief take care of the drug people that's coming and pushing the dope into our city. Yes, we need to put them in jail where they belong. But we also need to have counselors. We need to have the mental profession, the job people to help us address the issue. Pastors and leaders and people all over the city. So I call upon the mayor's office in closing. I call upon city council to have a community meeting and let's address this issue. Stop just pointing out the homeless. We all have drug addiction going on in our family. We all have people that don't want to work in our family. But we've stigmatized and placed a big old spotlight just on our homeless. And it has to come to an end because I'm seeing hatred, bitterness, I'm seeing biasness and prejudice, and it has to come to an end because they have a different background than we do. It is that homeless encampments are a trouble minder to the health crisis that we have in our community. And the reason is because we have not come together and start working on a plan to address it. The city has been asked multiple times, do we have a plan? We have no plan. Statement after statement, and I can prove it. So I'm asking you, will you be concerned with your fellow man? Someone that doesn't look like you, doesn't dress like you, that are homeless for whatever reason. I have asked the federal government to even come in and start an investigation because of some of the comments that were very troubling to me, that we're going to raise the rent to push out people that are on cap because we don't want to deal with it no more. So now we have even more people that's going to be homeless. So I ask you, will you work with us tonight? Stop bypassing the office of the bishop and work with us, and let's sit down and have a tough conversation in the weeks and days to come and address the core issue of how do we help them? What can we do that is right, that's within the budget? Bring the churches on board. Because when you come right down to it, failure doesn't really lie with you all. It lies with every church in the city of Greenville.
If you could keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I'm just a preacher and I'm a passionate.
Okay.
But the Constitution gives me the right to freedom of speech. And I know y'all don't like it, but nevertheless, I've been called as a Moses to tell you that we have to let the people of God go. And churches aren't doing enough. We are given the command from the Lord Jesus Christ himself, which says that we're to take care of the strangers, the orphans, the widows, the homeless, and all of the other people. We're not just to represent the rich, not the poor, but everybody in between. And that's what I have always tried to do. So I've got to get to work, but I do look forward to sitting down with all of you, talking one to another with you, and let's work on the situation instead of discriminating and creating the hatred and biasness that I'm seeing out in the community. And show people that we can work together. in spite of our differences, we can come together and we can end this problem. God bless you.
I have a couple of questions.
Tim?
Quick, I gotta run.
Go ahead, Raymond.
Have you contacted the Greenville Ministerial Association?
I'm on the Ministerial Association.
Okay, and what are they doing?
At the current moment, we have a fund that goes to the police with vouchers. And they have vouchers that we do issue from the Good Samaritan fund. And we also have in that organization, the president that runs a program that does vouchers for the homeless, puts them up a week in the motel.
And the other thing too is, do you know how many homeless we have in the city?
Head count.
We don't know for sure, but we're told between 150 to 200 is what we're told.
And do you think all of those are rehabilitatable?
I think you don't give up on anybody. My job is never to give up on anybody. Now, whether they want help or not, that's up to them. To be honest with you, Council Rogers, I can't answer that. But I can tell you this, regardless, my job in my position is never to give up on one, to always have hope, because it has been shown that it takes some people 4 or 5 times before they actually gets it. And they have to want to help themselves.
Right, I understand that, and I would say probably maybe at least a fourth of those people that's homeless are homeless because they want to be, not because they have the choice.
I disagree with that. Who does not want a house over their head? I mean, their bad choices may have led to that,
Right,
but
I'm sure they want a roof over their head, but they have chosen that because they don't want direction.
that is your opinion, sir.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
I'd like to know could you please repeat for me? What revised code did you cite in your article, in your statement?
It is the code 3707-01.
And that's Ohio revised. That's Ohio
Yes.
revised.
Yes, ma'am.
And just so, I have been doing some reading, and you talk about, the Ministerial Association, and there's another church, EUM.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, both have a voucher system.
No, EMU does not have a voucher system.
Okay, both have allotted $40,000 for vouchers.
They do not take care of that. They take care of, and I know this to be a fact, they take care of assistance with other things such as electric bills and that type of stuff. Now, there was miscommunication and Josh Walker was misquoted, and I do have his statement where he has sent to the police department for them to correct some of the things that was said, because it was not exactly the way he said.
Okay, I will review that for my own personal satisfaction, if you don't mind. I just want to also say that, you say that you're not that you accuse us of singling out the homeless. You have accused us of being unsympathetic, not being empathetic.
I have.
Yes, you have. And I don't think that's fair of you any more than you think it's fair of us to say that,
To hold you accountable as an elected official.
hold me accountable. But you can't accuse me of not being empathetic if you don't know me. You can't accuse.
I can
Agree with that.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that too.
You cannot sit there.
You sat there and pointed your finger at all of us.
Yeah, and that
All of us.
is you doing the same thing you're accusing us of doing. And I, for one, whether you like me being a woman on this city council or
What
whether
does the woman have anything to do with it? You put it in my mouth.
your church doctrine, it might, but okay. So I'm just saying that you need to think about sometimes how you come across. If you come across adversarial with me, you won't get pushback. And I'm just being honest with you.
Then perhaps we need to unelect you as official if you can't represent all of the people.
I do represent
the city.
people.
And you can sit here and have a heated debate all you want, But the fact of the matter is it is the failed leadership of not just the council, but of everybody that sits in the council for years. We have had a homeless epidemic. We have had a lot.
We heard enough. We're repeating the same stuff over. and over.
Yeah, sorry.
That's pretty good. Okay, anyone else would like to, for public hearing?
Oh, good follow-up. Please, Joe, my face is red.
Name and address, please.
Andy Roberts, 527 Markworth Avenue. Just a couple of things. Number one, just a reminder, November 6th, between 4 and 7 will be a pancake supper for LifeWise Academy. Just wanted to make this announcement once again. It will be held at the First Assembly of God on State Route 118. November 6th, between 4 and 7. I also want to bring awareness of a campaign that is done all across the United States called No Shave November. I know a lot of times people talk about breast cancer for, I think it's May and so forth, but in November, a lot of men will not shave, will not get haircuts to bring awareness and to bring conversation about cancer. I had a cousin who died at a very young age. I think he was in his 30s, dying of probate cancer. And he told me many, many years ago to make sure that I was checked out, that I brought awareness of this subject. And I had a council person many, many years ago who used to never shave in November. And he would always use the council meetings as a voice to give awareness to this issue. So I just wanted to speak on that behalf, that No Shave November. And I just want to encourage our men to be aware of this issue because it is a very serious issue in our nation. Before I go any further, is there anything else on that? Do you have any questions so far? And let me just speak. I'm not going to speak very much on this issue, but before I came in here tonight, I thought about this homeless issue. I was at a meeting the other night and the comment was made that the city doesn't have what it takes or anything in place to address this issue. And let me just give you this thought. In the book of Joshua, an angel or a man appeared to Joshua. And he had a sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua asked him, are you for my adversaries or my enemies, or are you for us? So pretty much he asked him, whose side are you on? Are you on our side or are you on their side? And the angel told him, I'm not on neither of your side. So my question to you, council, and to Greenville is, why do we always have to get everybody on our side? Why is it that it has to be one side or the other? That you have to agree with the city. And that's one of my biggest flaws with the homeless issue that we are dealing with, is that you don't agree with, if a person doesn't agree with you, you don't want them involved in the conversation. I had a very lengthy conversation with Francis, who's taken over at the Department of Health. We had a very lengthy discussion the other night after the meeting that we had about homelessness. So my question is why do we always have to get everybody on our side? It's not whether you agree with the city and that's it. Or do you, if you agree with the police, or if you agree with the homeless, or if you agree with the churches, we should all come to, it's not about whose side is right. It's about doing what is right. And I just want to encourage our council, and I want to encourage our leadership in our city. Let's come together, together we can solve this issue. And I think that if we just realize that we are stronger together than we are divisive, I think we can get a whole lot more done. Yes.
Timeline? Yep.
I couldn't agree with you more that we need to come together on the homeless issue. But I do say that you guys are very remiss in saying that there aren't programs available that are helping the homeless, people that are addicted, people that have mental health issues, and so forth. I got a whole list right here of programs that have been available here in Greenville and Dark County for years. And for you guys to say that we don't participate in any of that or don't care for the homeless, poppycock is baloney. Why don't you want to work with us? Why don't you guys work together with everybody else and programs that are in existence already without trying to invent your own wheel? That's what it seems like to me.
I kind of disagree. Let me just be very brief on this, okay? When somebody offers a new program, sometimes it can be looked at wrong or it can be scrutinized. And when we offered showers of blessings in our church, we were pretty much told that we could not do that.
Why?
Because well, there was a lot of issues, but the health department actually came out and tried to shut us down.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because they didn't want us having it. They said we had to have permits to have showers.
And that's the way it goes. And that rules.
We have baptismaries, churches that have baptismals that never, what's the difference between that?
Baptisms and showers, you don't need to have to that, you need to have a difference between what a baptism and a shower is.
Well, there are baptismals that are never cleaned out year after year after year. And they come into our location to get a shower, a 3-minute shower I'm talking about. We have a very small water tank, okay? So they get a 3-minute shower. So what damage is going to be done with the 3-minute shower?
That's still an issue with the health department. It's got nothing to do with us.
But here's the thing, is that when you offer something new that has never been offered before to help people, it's scrutinized, just like what you're doing right now. So what I would like to say is that, there are a lot of programs, yes, but because you have programs in place doesn't mean that that's, for some reason, it's not really working very well, is it? Because you have a lot of people that are in need. I think the biggest issue that we face in this city is not trash, and there was a false narrative that was given about the ordinance. You've been very outspoken on this ordinance, okay? That it was a trash bill.
Trash is mentioned many times in that ordinance.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes, it is. Take a look. The whole ordinance, read it. The whole ordinance.
Well,
The word trash is in it many times.
but we have been very outspoken. And
I know that.
so just lost my thought. I think, but we do have an issue. So if we're going to see results, we're going to have to come together better. And you can point a finger at him, you can point a finger at me, but he didn't just blame all of you. He blamed himself too. He said, we, the church, are just at fault. And you don't have homeless. Okay, you don't see 100 people out on the street, because a lot of people that are homeless, they are living with family, they're living with friends. So that number is much bigger than what most people think. So while we do have a lot of programs in place, what we are trying to do is come up with a central place for people to get resources to reconcile everything together into one place. I think that would be very useful.
And you want to be that place, is that it?
No, not at all. Why does it have to be us?
That's what you're sounding like to me.
No, we're stronger together. If
That's right.
if there's a business owner or a property owner that wants to donate some property to help solve this issue, to bring, some help. We've offered some solutions, but every time we offer solutions, our ideas are shot down. We've pretty much been told, just real quick, we've pretty much been told by some businesses in town that anything we do on behalf of this subject, they're going to oppose it.
Okay, let's move on.
I think it's time that we come.
Let's move on. You've had plenty of time. Okay. Anyone else? Public hearing. We usually allow 5 minutes and I let both of the past two go more than 15 minutes. So
I was asked by Councilman Whitaker to explain what my, I'll do it.
Sure.
I'm used to talking to this many people.
name and part.
My name is Eric Roberts. I'm Chief of Police. Just to dispel some things, yes, we do respond to the bridge. I have many numbers there. We don't do it necessarily as a law enforcement and enforcement purposes. We've implemented a deal where every shift goes down and check up on those under the bridges that we know that are being occupied. This is a welfare check. That pamphlet there, my officers are directed to see if they want resources, if we have somebody new there, to make sure that those resources are there. There's been many false narratives. Yes, sometimes people come out with handcuffs, but they probably had a warrant for their arrest. So we're not going under the bridge and enforcing anything other than checking up on them and if they have warrants for their arrest. I want to thank everybody we had a well-coordinated effort in trying to clean up the bridge. This is a double-edged sword for me. Yes, I'm concerned for those people. They are still our citizens, but on the same token, everywhere I go, I have people approach me and say, I can't take my child down the path anymore, or the cross-country team can't run their normal route of practice. People are coming up and saying they've walked in the needles, or people defecating along the pathway, and many other things, or they don't feel safe. When someone tells me they don't feel safe in my town, I take that personally. So we are doing the best we can to maintain the rights of those under the bridge, but also to keep the safety of those citizens and people visiting this town.
Eric, one of the things I heard, and I know we talked about this because it was not true, but there was some stuff put out there on Facebook that stated there was kids underneath there, like toddlers. So is that the case?
We've never had, my officers are under there all the time. We've never had children living under the bridge that I remember in my 27 years.
Thank you.
We personally believe they were stolen. I know there's one person sitting at the table has had a bunch of his stuff stolen before. So here very recently, we tend to locate them in manners such as that.
Right. And then also a current issue, they've been lighting fires under there,
Yes.
cook
And
food.
they're cooking food. We did that. I've never got a chance to actually talk to an engineer, but what does that do structurally to the bridge? It's cold, contraction, expansion. It's not my forte, but I'm assuming it's not good for the structure itself for the bridge. Because they're on support structures where these fires are at.
I would think there would be some safety concerns there as far as smoke inhalation and.
The fire department
Carbon
did tell me,
monoxide.
yes, that there was a concern of smoke inhalation and carbon monoxide. And they don't respond without us due to some of the nature of the people there. So at night, we're risking the safety of them going down that because it's not an easy slope to get down. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Hey, anyone else? Public hearing. All right, we will move on to administration reports. Mr. Mayor.
Council President. A few things, Aaron was kind enough to come in and state a couple of things. Main Street Visuals was hopefully a few things they're working on. The first things I'm gonna say is the Voters Night and the True afterwards, the Daily Advocate, Early Bird, Main Street, and a lot of businesses were instrumental in making sure that happens every year. We appreciate it. Thank you. So pass that along. So like the merchants, a lot of them stayed open and they did well. Jeff Willikers spent some time in the office at the Main Street to keep it open during that time.
We had a lot of visitors in town, so that was pretty nice. Appreciate that. First Friday's coming up, there's chocolate walk, which is kind of cool, 5 to 9. They sold 200 tickets, they're all sold out. If you need to want to go, you probably check around with some people that may not make it. $20 a piece. There's 19 businesses participating. So that'll be a fun night. Full-time holiday horse parade. Chris, we talked about that a little bit, and Diana Stebbins is taking care of that again this year, working with Main Street Visitors Bureau. That'll be a big event. Seems like everybody wants to have a horse parade these days. After us, right? I know it's a successful thing, so looking forward to that. And of course, at the end of that, Santa Claus will light the Christmas tree. So on the 14th, they'll be putting the tree up. So if anybody's interested, on the 14th, it's Friday morning. And then Monday morning, I keep turning around Monday morning, like 8 o'clock. We'll be getting the tree about 8. It's about 9 or something. We'll be setting the tree up. So it's kind of fun to watch. So if you're interested, check it out.
When is that again?
It's the 14th.
The 14th.
Monday, the 14th.
And the horse parade is what dates?
It's the 19th. That's 7 p.m.
Goes up on Monday. Right on.
So then another thing to look forward to is on this December first Friday, we're playing an ice skating rink. Friday and Saturday night, so that's kind of cool. And there's some businesses helping out with that and making sure that people that are running it and taking care of it are taken care of and spend the night and get some food. So we thank all those people involved. One of the things, real quick, it was really fun. I was able to visit SF and find out about some of their plans and what they have going on out there. We don't have a turnover of employees like most people do, but they do have a little bit once in a while. They have somebody recently, but then they want to work on a better that's, you know, that's the top of the line jobs. They don't feel like they're doing now. And they want to do things to bring that back up, and people's know that it's one of the best jobs in town. And when they're doing things with that, they're upgrading all of their equipment. Not all of it. Probably spending $7 million right now. They've spent millions already, and several more to go on upgrading their equipment. So they have plans to be there for a while. So it's pretty neat to see. So appreciate all the businesses that are involved in all our houses and trick or treat and voting, and everything seemed to go really well. The businesses do well. So appreciate all the help from the street department, police department, fire department, and they all go out candy and pretty fun. So we appreciate everybody's help. So and after that, I'll pass.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody's got questions?
Do I have any questions for Mayor? Safety Service Director, Brian Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things for this evening. The first is the Veterans Day Parade is going to be Friday, November the 11th, downtown Broadway. So a portion of Broadway will be closed from about 10:30 to 11:30 that day. At 11:11 in front of the courthouse, they'll do a ceremony, and then the parade will continue down around the traffic circle and disband on West Main.
What was the dates on that again?
Friday, November the 11th. And so the city building is off that day, but the day before we've encouraged employees to wear red, white, and blue to support our veterans. And then sent an email out today to Greg Billings with Main Street Greenville, letting him know what was going on so he can reach out to the businesses. And so we can maybe try to get some downtown business owners or employees down there to wear red, white, and blue and come out, you know, for the parade to show our support for the veterans. The Dark County Veterans Affairs is putting it on this year, and they're trying to expand the parade and make it a little bigger than in the past. And the mayor's been pretty instrumental in pushing that through. So, you just a great day to go out and support our veterans. Next, aggregation. So I feel like I always talk about aggregation, but just a reminder on aggregation. So for the gas on Constellation, so that went into effect on October 1. So it's November 1, we'll be getting our October bills here the first part of November. So I encourage all residents to flip that bill over and make sure that your supplier is Constellation. If not, then you're not in the aggregation program and you need to contact Constellation. We have information on our website or downstairs in the mayor's office to make that phone call and get switched over to that Constellation rate of 0.756 per CCF. And that's a 24-month term on that aggregation. As I've said in the past, the electric is already in action, and that should be on your AES bills, and that is 0.0499 per kilowatt hour. And that was a 36-month term that began in December of 2021.
And that is on the Greenville's website. Is there a link or?
Yeah, so if you go to cityofgreenville.org, there's resources there, and there's natural gas and electric aggregation, a tab, and it'll give you the phone numbers and the email addresses for whoever you need to contact. Just a few brief things on tonight's legislation, a couple of things. The first one, number 3 there, that police department cruiser. So that, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit at our special meeting. So that's a used police cruiser that the city of Maumee has that they're selling on gov deals. So this would replace one of them that was totaled in that police chase, and some of those funds were from the total. So we received I think it was 12.8 from the insurance company, and then we were going to put funds with it. So this is for 2017 with, I think, around 76,000 miles. No guarantee we will win the bid, but that's our plan. And then we'll make that an SRO cruiser and be able to get our fleet all back in action again, hopefully, if the auction goes well. And then the Jones and Henry, the solids handling study. So that is a part of, back when we did water and sewer rate increases, that was one of our goals to address, was our sludge handling. So currently how our process is, we pump our sludge off and we pump it out to a holding tank in our landfill. So we pump it a couple miles through a pipe that is not in the greatest of shape into a holding tank that's not in the greatest of shape either. So our next step is so our process now, we are a class C, and that is we have to inject it into the ground as we pump it. It's very expensive. It keeps just going up and up and up every year that we do a contract. So we're looking into switching to what they call a class B cake that can be land applied, which is more of like a manure spreader versus knifing it into the ground. You can take more of the contaminants out of it that way. In their world, class B is what kind of everyone is headed towards. And then there's a class A that could potentially be a next step. So basically what we're doing is we're going to do a study and go out and look at different wastewater plants and their processes and their equipment to see exactly what we want to do. But the plan right now is to look into a class B facility that in 15, 20 years down the road, if the EPA mandated it, then we could convert ours to a class A fairly easy. But it's a huge project. Financially, it's a big number. We're probably looking right now at today's construction cost about $8 million for something like this. Our engineers tell us it's a 4-year process to even get into construction starting today. So it's going to be a long process. I'm probably going to talk about sludge a lot here in the coming months and years. So I apologize, but it's part of what we do. Looking forward to it. I figured. So I just wanted to let everyone know so they understood what we're trying to accomplish there. The water main, that's just the replacement and awarding the bid to Greenville Construction. That's a year out because of supplies. And then the the fire truck lease to purchase that we added. That's just the portion so the auditor can sign to get the lease to purchase. And right now, G&B actually gave us a rate of 4.5% that was better than the other two rates that we received.
Awesome.
And then last but not least, I just do want to say a couple things on the unhoused or the homeless, you know, whatever you want to call them. I want to thank the police department and Lieutenant Flannery. You know, we asked him to put together a meeting for resources, and we all met down at the Legion, brought in Tri-County Board of Mental Health and CAP and some churches and Dark County Probation, health department, family health. You know, this I guess I'll call it a problem. You know, I've been researching this for months and months and months, and I'll tell you, it's far from a city of Greenville problem. You know, it's a country problem, unfortunately. And all the research that I've kind of done, nobody has the answer. I mean, you can go through big cities, the small cities. There are a lot of these encampment ordinances that are going into place, and there's no great answer because, you know, you guys said it. Yeah, there are people out there that are working hard. There are also people out there that's what they know, and that's what makes them comfortable. I'm a firm believer like sometimes, you know, just like your child, you have to give them a little nudge and say, here's the help, you know, try to get them to take it. So, you know, that's kind of my stance on that. One of the gentlemen tonight that spoke, you know, made a comment that the city stated they were in a position to fix it and didn't have a plan. And I 100% made those statements because we don't have a great plan that I can snap my fingers and say it's fixed tomorrow. And I agree. I don't think it's a city problem, and it's nothing the city can take on from a financial standpoint or from a resource standpoint. So our goal out of this meeting was, what resources are out there? Is there anything that we're missing? You know, where do we go from there? Kind of, I guess, the start of the plan in my mind. I was blown away that what people in the community already do. It is mind blowing. And I told all them that night, like, you know, thank you, because without them, how bad could it be, right? So it was just a great group and a great conversation, and we're going to try to continue, you know, meeting with that group in case anything else, you know, comes up or kind of we can take it in a different direction. But, you know, I guess I hope when I speak for council, we're not in a financial spot to take something on like this. You know, it's gonna take the whole community. You know, some things that I feel that we can do, and something that the police department is working on. My vision or my view, you know, we have to stop it. You know, we have to educate our youth. We need to get into the schools more. We need to start programs on drug awareness and what's out there. Similar, you know, I'll say a DARE program. I don't know if it's exactly a DARE program, but we've talked about that, something along those lines. I know our local Elks does a drug awareness program. The other thing we talked about was police chiefs looking into a drug dog. You know, let's make it hard for people in the city to deal drugs. You know, that's one of the problems is drug addiction. So if we can address all those things, you know, talk to the county a little bit. They're on board, and we can make it a countywide thing. So we are working on it, but we, you know, it's an honest statement when I say we don't have a plan because we don't know exactly what's going to fix it. And we don't want to just throw money at things to hope that it fixes it. We want to do our research, and we want to educate ourselves, and we want to make sure we have a solid plan to move forward. And that's, I believe, what we're doing. You know, everyone in this room, Mr. Raymond, the mayor, President, we talked about it at our admin meeting for months. Every single one we have, you know, it's a topic of discussion. So I know I'm rambling, but I just wanted to make everyone aware that definitely working on it, and I will entertain any questions. And with that, I will pass.
On the police cruiser, does that give us the leeway to bid any extra, or how, like, is that not how that works? Or like we just bid what we bid, and if someone else bids over us, we're out of luck, or how's that work?
Correct. So we don't think it's worth any more than that.
Okay.
That's what we think the worth of it is. If it goes much over that,
Find something else.
yes,
Have you found out what the reserve is?
no,
I think there's a reserve on both of them.
yeah. Again, if you book it out and you look at other ones, that's all it's worth. So if they have the reserve set higher than that, then we move on.
I have asked cities, what the reserve is. Sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they won't.
Yeah, Lieutenant Flannery called and they would not.
Any other questions for the service director? Not, we'll move on to Mike Greenville, law director.
Thank you. Just briefly to piggyback, excuse me, and obviously a hot topic of discussion tonight. So to kind of put in, I guess, ease your minds about what we've done as a city, what we're doing to address the problem. We put a framework in to address the issue of homelessness and how we can help it. That framework, again, doesn't get addressed until we know we have the resources available. But what you guys did is we put the framework in place so that if people are making a conscious decision that there are resources available to help them and they don't want the help, now it allows the city to come in and do something at that point. We're not going to enforce anything that we've done if there's not help for people. But before we were in a situation where we couldn't do anything at all. And so what you've done is that from what you've passed, the framework now is in place that if people have an option and it's their choice that they want to remain in the situation that they are, that's unacceptable. We've all discussed that that's an unacceptable result. And so at that point in time, then we can clean up the trash, we can do all of this. And so that's the focus of the statutes that we've handled. It's not criminalizing homelessness. This is, if there are options available to you, and that is your choice, that's the difference. Whereas before, we had nothing to be able to change lifestyles when that was the conscious choice. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. All right, no questions for Mr. Raymond. We will move on to City Auditor Roxanne Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just to let you know, and I think I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but starting this week, we are sitting down with the department heads and going over the final budget proposals that they have given us. And hopefully, again, there's a slight possibility we may be coming to you in December to try to get things finalized. It's more likely in January, but it's no work us right now. And with that, I will pass.
I feel like we just did it.
All right, committee reports. We have none on the agenda. We'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Number one is a supplemental ordinance.
Supplemental ordinance and ordinance to make appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. This supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the general fund, street fund, park fund, and the sum as follows. New equipment, police department in the amount of $18,000. These funds are needed for a police cruiser and are provided by insurance proceeds from a cruiser involved in an accident. Traffic control, new lights, signs at the street department in the amount of $3,245. These funds are needed for the unforeseen replacement of the traffic controller on North Broadway and Russ. Utilities park in the amount of $7,650. These funds are needed to cover park utilities through December 31st, 2022.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second, third time.
Been moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the ordinance second, third time, read it by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
Move to adopt.
Moved by. Who said that? Mr. Brown to adopt. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a ordinance, transfer ordinance.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds, money appropriations of the various funds of the city of Greenville. This transfer ordinance allows for appropriations in the general fund and the sewage disposal fund, and the sum as follows: $450 from office supplies to auditor travel and education. This transfer is needed to cover additional travel through December 31st, 2022. $75 from health insurance sewage disposal to life insurance sewage disposal. This transfer is needed to cover the cost of life insurance premiums through December 31st, 2022.
Suspend the rules and give this ordinance second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers, suspend rules, give this ordinance second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds and money appropriations to the various funds of the city of Greenville. An ordinance for the transfer of funds and money appropriations of the various funds of the city of Greenville.
Just to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to adopt. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 3, a resolution authorizing safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a vehicle for police department.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle to be used by the police department. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a 2017 Ford Explorer through GovDeals from the city of Maumee with a bid not to exceed $18,000.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Been moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution reading by second, third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle to be used by the police department. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into an agreement to purchase a motor vehicle to be used by the police department.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Been moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 4, a resolution authorizing safety service director to enter into contract with Jones and Henry regarding solid handling study.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into contract with Jones and Henry Engineers Ltd. for the rendering of a professional engineering consultation services for the solid handling pilot study. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to enter into contract with Jones and Henry Engineers for rendering of professional engineering services for a solids handling pilot study.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Okay, motion move, Mr. Godwin, to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Just do. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into a contract with Johnson Henry Engineers Ltd. for services rendering of professional engineering consultation services for a solids handling pilot study. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into a contract with Johnson Henry Engineers Ltd. for rendering of a professional engineering consultation services for a solid handling pilot study.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
All right, moving on to number 5, a resolution awarding construction contract for water main replacement.
A resolution awarding the construction contract for water main replacement. This resolution awards the construction contract to Greenville Construction Incorporated for the water main replacement project.
We'll suspend the rules and give this resolution second, third reading by title only.
I move by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
A resolution awarding the construction contract for water main replacement. A resolution awarding the construction contract for water main replacement.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Brown to adopt this resolution. Discussion.
Yeah, when's this gonna start? Next September.
Next up, how long is it gonna take?
Ooh, a year to 18 months.
Does that mean 502 is gonna be closed?
502 is only gonna be closed a short amount of time, because ODOT would only give us our, detour closure for, I'd have to double check, but I think it was only 45 days. So a lot of it's gonna be in the right of way until we get up into the city.
On Schrader's side?
No.
Not what you wanted to hear.
I know where you're going with this. Get you a zip line.
All right. Thanks.
I'm gonna make a new roadway for you.
Any other questions on that? Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Now we all know where Clarence lives. Number 6, an ordinance amending codified ordinances.
An ordinance amending codified 25206, 25222, 25204 of the codified ordinance. This ordinance amends section 25206, 25222, 25204 of the codified ordinances relating to paid time off for city employees.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules to give this ordinance second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
An ordinance amending 25206, 25222, 25204 of the codified ordinances. An ordinance amending 25206, 25222, 25204 of the codified ordinances.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Been moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
All right, final last one. We have a number 7, an ordinance authorizing lease purchase financing of new fire truck.
An ordinance also authorizing the lease purchase financing of a fire truck and associated equipment, execution of the lease purchase agreement and related to the agreements, certificates, and instruments, and declaring an emergency. This ordinance is for the purchase of a lease purchase of a fire truck through Greenville National Bank at the rate of 4.5%, you said? 4.5, I didn't read it. Yes, there it is, 4.5. Yes,
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only.
Been moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the lease purchase financing of a fire truck and associated equipment, execution of a lease purchase agreement and related agreements, certificates and instruments, and declaring an emergency. An ordinance authorizing the lease purchase financing of a fire truck and associated equipment, execution of a lease purchase agreement and related agreements, certificates and instruments, and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Brown to adopt. Discussion. Call the roll.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't. Have time.
Let's see. That completes our ordinances and resolutions. New business, we have none. Old business, we have none. Council representing outside committees. I know the CIC is on there, but you're gonna have.
Yeah, we're gonna have that meeting later on in the month, right? Was it the fourth Wednesday? At 1 o'clock
Okay,
downstairs in the basement classroom, so.
okay. Communications.
I have the October income tax report that was distributed, and that's the only communication we have.
Okay. Call of council.
Brown,
Pass.
Ely,
I'll pass.
Godwin,
Pass.
Norris,
Pass.
Rogers,
I'm gonna pass also.
Schmidt,
Pass.
Whitaker.
A pass. Talked about what I wanted to talk about.
Baumgart again.
Well, so,
Summarize that.
so I can't piggyback off. No, just, I jotted down a couple important dates. So Monday, the 14th, setting of the tree, that's gonna be in the morning. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. So encourage anyone that's out and about to watch that big crane set that tree. November 11th, Veterans Day. Look, I think that's nearest and dearest to my heart, those veterans, we wouldn't be here without them. So we need to support them, show them that we care. So I encourage everyone to attend that. On the Halloween parade downtown, I was up there, my youngest daughter was up there, and my wife and I went out to eat that night. It was just a crazy event. I think it's one of the coolest Halloween parades that's around. So just kudos to everyone involved putting that together. I seen Christmas lights being put up from the street department. Kudos to them. And with that, I pass. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Brown to adjourn. Call the roll.
Oh, never mind. Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.